Our goal at SCAD Crew is to build a Division III school that has the ability to beat a Division I school at a major competition. We ask a lot of our athletes, working in hard 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, but a lot of people that come out to our program want that challenge. They want to turn into something that they were never able to be maybe in high school or at another college program. We offer that kind of program that appeals to that, to take an athlete from never knowing how to row before into somebody that is able to go to a Division I competition and win medals.
One, two, three, four.
It's like there could be a book about Scott, the life of Scott. Here's a guy that would drive us to be our utmost, at our best, physically, mentally, and he would live on ramen noodles and PBR.
But when he had SCAD team, he would have about something like 150 kids come out for a crew initially, and they'd come to Forsyth Park, but he would group people when they first came out, this, by their astrological sign, and he would take the characteristics of that sign or whatever and group these people. But what he would do is he would explain it as this was your role in the boat. You were this type of person, or wherever he placed you, he had the whole mindset of what he wanted your role to be in the boat, sort of based on your astrological sign.
He's so passionate about his sport that you can't help but feel that. And you love that about him, and he makes you feel that too. And he drives you to perfection because he's a perfectionist. And his personal life was usually in some kind of disarray. And the SCAD thing was weird. I mean, I think he still just will not let that go.
When SCAD laid me off and cut our program, it didn't make sense. All the sacrifice and love for the college, when there was not a person on this campus that loved SCAD more than me. And to cut and destroy that program and all those students' efforts to make it good did not make sense. And that leaves you kind of like, what just happened?
I don't know that he really knew that it would be cut like that. Just immediate, that's it, see you later.
I stayed very dedicated to my job, which required lots of travel and staying single and dedicating all of my youth basically to the progress of this team. It's kind of like learning a lie,
It was heartbreaking because he had poured his heart in. He had won at all different levels. He had taken teams and to winning where they should not have won. I mean, they beat out all the big schools, all the SECs, lots of the SEC schools that had teams. It's hard to really say how much his heart was broken.
So this area right here represents balance. Okay, so on the balance now, on this side is my books, and these are books that either I acquired through school, through my friends, or gifts, or things like that. These are books that are generally given to me or were for schooling, but they made up who I was. Over here is my audio, and they balance between what you read and what you hear is who you become. Up at the top, I've put the rowing oars that my roommate gave to me. Last year, we built them into a sort of an overhead light so that I can light them up, and just kind of gives me some ambient light into the house. In order to have this beautiful house that I'm walking everybody through, I had to work I had to work for SCAD. I worked for SCAD, and I acquired debt to buy this house. And now that I have that debt, I have to successfully pay off that debt. So debt controls me.
He has lots of eclectic art stuff. I mean, it's like really nice, like hardwood floors and high ceilings and things, and then he'll find old bent up sheet metal and hang it as art, or he's got several of his own paintings.
This piece is called Happily Defeated, and this is when I sort of finally made peace with the fact that I was laid off and that I was not employed. It's kind of the moment you have acceptance. And what it represents is that I'm right-handed, and I usually carry my gun in my right hand and would shoot with my right hand. But when I was happily defeated, it was like the moment of losing your right arm, and so that you sort of become sort of amputated from the elbow down.
I feel like if he could just let that go, I think he could move on. After he left SCAD and decided to start a league, a rowing league, he was putting up flyers at Parker's Market downtown. And my friend Kelly Parker was there. And she said, you know, I'm sorry, but you can't put flyers in our window, but what have you got? And they started chatting, and he told her what he was doing, and she said, I can get you probably 8 people to fill a boat.
Kara began on a gamble that my own talent and experience in rowing could build a team. I took it upon myself to cash in all of my retirements and everything else I had saved and worked hard to have a family for and build that family.
All of his work, of his monies has just been poured into the team. So it's just something that you don't see other people doing.
And then this was my very first high school team for Kara, and we called them the Ninjas, and so this is the Ninja.
When he is out in front of the team, he holds everything together and just drives and motivates, and it's interesting to watch.
He would do anything for me right now, not having seen him in, a year and a half. I know if I asked him for something, he would give me the shirt off his back. I know he would.
It looks good. Everything okay?
Yes, sir. The fellow that's working outside has been working for me since 2001, a little over 10 years, just doing random jobs. And he's a homeless fellow that I hired, and he's been a really good friend over all these years.
And then in 2010, DNR, Department of Natural Resources, came in and they said that the floating dock that we had was a violation of the bottom lease. It had been there since sometime in the early 90s, I believe.
That really put a crimp in our progress. We were probably, I think, 80 strong when that happened.
And then the marina said we couldn't have the floating dock, so that shut it down for a little while. And then we got permission again from DNR to be back out there.
But that was enough time to kind of create a hiccup in the program.
It was horrible. We had to move all the boats out of the boathouse, find a place for the boats, all the equipment, and then to have his program shut down and for him to not have that income. He did a couple things, like we would have a boot camp in other places during the winter, and we'd work out, and he'd have great workout programs. We all loved that. But it just never picked up again.
It's happening at the same time that my father had a stroke in 2009. It's happening at the same time where his health and needing me he's deteriorating a little bit as a human, and so he needs my help. I look at this as sort of a situation to try to make opportunity from.
I mean, to keep going after all of his setbacks, and to still make people laugh and make jokes about it, I think he sees the brighter side of things.
I do not have any regrets for investing my time or money or this period of my life into something I believe in.
Coach, I'd like you to just keep it on as far as if you are able to coach, you should coach your whole life. And then you've just always been an amazing friend.
When you plan a life and it doesn't go the way that you had imagined it goes, what you do in that moment is a reflection of your character.